line drying your laundry. In the 1950s, practically every backyard in America had a clothesline strung between two metal poles. Nobody even thought twice about it. You washed, you hung, you folded. It was just what you did. Today, running a dryer costs roughly 60 to 70 cents per load. If you do 5 loads a week, that is over $180 a year just to dry your clothes. I set up a simple folding rack on my back porch last spring, and I cannot tell you how much I enjoy it. There is something genuinely calming about hanging laundry in the fresh air, and your clothes actually last significantly longer because the dryer's heat isn't beating up the fibers. Cooking from scratch every single day. Our grandmothers did not have a freezer full of boxed meals or drawers stuffed with takeout menus. They cooked real food from real ingredients because that was the only option, and somehow their families were healthier for it. A whole roasted chicken costs about $7 and feeds a family for 2 or 3 days. A takeout chicken sandwich alone can cost $12 for one person. I started batch cooking big pots of soup and on Sundays like my grandmother used to do, and my weekly grocery bill dropped by almost a third. The secret is simplicity. You do not need fancy recipes, just real ingredients, a good pot, and a little patience. Mending and repairing clothes instead of replacing them. When something ripped or lost a button in the 1950s, nobody threw it in the trash. They sat down with a needle and thread and fixed it. Today, we treat clothing like it is disposable. A missing button? Off to the donation bin. A small tear? Straight in the garbage. Learning basic hand sewing takes about 30 minutes, and a simple sewing kit costs $3 at the dollar store. I've saved hundreds of dollars over the years by simply replacing buttons, patching small tears, and hemming pants that were too long. It is one of those skills that feels incredibly satisfying once you actually know how to do it. Growing a small kitchen garden. You did not need acres of land. Even in the 50s, apartment dwellers kept window boxes full of herbs and tomatoes. A single packet of basil seeds costs about $2 and produces enough fresh basil to replace $20 worth of those tiny plastic grocery store clamshells. I keep 4 small pots on my kitchen windowsill: basil, parsley, rosemary, and mint. They cost me less than $8 total to start, and they have been producing fresh herbs for over a year now. There is nothing quite like snipping fresh rosemary right off the plant while you are cooking dinner. And the smell in the kitchen is wonderful. Using a written shopping list and never deviating from it. In the 50s, grocery shopping was a weekly disciplined ritual. You made a list based on your meal plan, you brought exactly enough cash, and you stuck to it. Today, we wander through enormous stores designed by psychologists to trick us into impulse buying, and it works. Studies show that shoppers who go without a list spend 20 to 40% more. I keep a magnetic notepad on my refrigerator. Every time something runs out, I write it down. When it is time to shop, that list is my Bible. If it is not on the list, it does not go in the cart. It sounds simple, but this one habit alone saves me over $2,000 a year. Reusing and repurposing everything. Glass jars became drinking glasses. Old shirts became cleaning rags. Bread bags were saved and reused for lunches. Wrapping paper was carefully unfolded and stored for the next birthday. Our grandmothers did not call it recycling or sustainability. They just called it common sense. I keep a drawer in my kitchen specifically for things that can be used again. Rubber bands, twist ties, aluminum foil that is still perfectly clean, and plastic bags from the store. It might not sound glamorous, but those tiny savings add up to hundreds of dollars over the course of a year. Buying in bulk and storing food properly. In the 50s, families would buy flour, sugar, oats, and rice in large quantities and store them in glass jars or metal tins in the pantry. They understood that the per-unit cost drops dramatically when you buy more at once. Today, we do the opposite. We buy tiny single-serve, individually wrapped portions of everything and pay 3 or 4 times the price for the convenience. I buy my oats, rice, beans, and baking supplies from the bulk section. A 25 lb bag of rice costs about $15 and lasts our household for months. That same amount bought in small bags would cost over $40. The math is not complicated. Bigger packages, lower price, entertaining at home instead of going out. In the 1950s, socializing meant inviting the neighbors over for cards, coffee, and a slice of homemade pie. Nobody spent $50 a person at a restaurant just to sit and chat for an hour. Today, the average American spends over $3,000 a year eating out. That is a staggering amount of money that could be sitting in a savings account. I host a simple potluck dinner with my friends once a month. Everyone brings one dish, and we spend the evening laughing and catching up around my dining table. It costs almost nothing, and honestly, those evenings are far more enjoyable than any restaurant dinner I have ever been to. Making your own cleaning products. Our grandmothers kept their homes spotless with 3 things: white vinegar, baking soda, and a bar of soap. They did not need 17 different brightly colored spray bottles from the cleaning aisle. A gallon of white vinegar costs about $3. A box of baking soda costs $1. That is $4 for a year's supply of cleaning solution. Compare that to spending $30 or $40 a month on specialized sprays, wipes, and scrubs. I mix equal parts vinegar and water in a spray bottle, and it handles almost every surface in my home. For tough scrubbing, I sprinkle baking soda first. The house smells clean, not like a chemical factory, and the savings are absolutely real. Walking instead of driving for short trips. In the 50s, people walked to the corner store, walked to the mailbox, and walked to visit their neighbors. The car was for long trips. Today, we drive 3 blocks to pick up a gallon of milk and do not think twice about it. With gas prices where they are right now, every unnecessary short trip adds up fast. A 1-mile round trip might seem trivial, but doing that 5 times a week burns about $150 in gas per year. I started walking to my post office and the pharmacy, both less than a mile from my house. It saves gas money, and honestly, the fresh air and gentle exercise make me feel better than sitting in traffic ever did. Paying with cash instead of cards. There is a reason the phrase, "cash is king," has survived for decades. When you pay with physical bills, you feel the money leaving your hands. It hurts a little, and that is exactly the point. Studies consistently show that people spend 15% less when they use cash instead of credit or debit cards. My grandmother never owned a credit card in her life. She paid for everything in cash, and she never carried a penny of debt. I am not saying cut up all your cards, but try this experiment. For 1 month, take out a set amount of cash for groceries and spending money. When it is gone, it is gone. I guarantee you will be shocked at how much less you spend. Preserving food by canning, freezing, and pickling. When produce was in season and cheap, 50s homemakers bought it in bulk and preserved it for the colder months. They canned tomatoes, pickled cucumbers, froze berries, and made jams from whatever fruit was ripest and cheapest. I started doing this 3 years ago with just 2 things: freezing seasonal berries and making simple refrigerator pickles. A pint of fresh blueberries costs $2 in July. That same pint costs $6 in January. Freezing them at peak season saves a fortune. And you do not need any fancy equipment to start. A few freezer bags and some mason jars are all you need. Having just 1 car per household. In the 1950s, most families got by perfectly fine with a single vehicle. The idea of every adult in the house having their own car would have seemed absurdly wasteful. Today, many households have 2 or even 3 cars, each with its own insurance payment, registration, gas bill, and maintenance costs. The average cost of owning a second car is over $9,000 per year. That is $9,000 that could be going into your retirement savings. I realize this one is not possible for everyone, but if you are retired or working from home, it is absolutely worth having an honest conversation about whether that second car is truly necessary. Buying quality over quantity every single time. Our grandmothers bought 1 excellent cast iron skillet and used it for 40 years. Today, we buy a cheap nonstick pan for $15. It starts flaking after 6 months, and we throw it away and buy another one. A good cast iron skillet costs about $30 and will literally outlive you. Same goes for kitchen knives, winter coats, and leather shoes. My grandmother's approach was simple. Buy the best you can afford, take care of it, and it will take care of you. I have a set of stainless steel pots I bought 12 years ago. They still look brand new because quality lasts when you treat it right. Living below your means no matter what. This was not just a habit in the 1950s. It was a philosophy. It was a way of life. Our grandmothers did not spend money they did not have. They did not finance furniture. They did not put vacations on credit cards. They did not buy a bigger house just because the bank said they could. They saved first, spent second, and always kept a little something set aside for a rainy day. At 52 years old, this is the single most valuable lesson I have ever learned. It does not matter how much money you make. What matters is how much you keep. Living below your means is not about deprivation. It is about freedom. It is about sleeping peacefully at night, knowing you are not one emergency away from financial disaster. And that kind of peace is worth more than anything money can buy. So there you have it. 15 old-fashioned habits from the 1950s that are more relevant today than they have ever been. Our grandmothers were not living in the past. They were living wisely, and we would all do well to follow their example. Which of these habits are you going to bring back into your own life? Did I miss one that your grandmother swore by? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. If these timeless lessons from the past have changed how you look at your daily spending, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the wisdom that modern society has tried to bury. Let's build a more secure future together. The next treasure of knowledge will be opened soon.